Hello YouTube. This is my channel Enneagram Life. Today I want to talk about a type 2 from my past because I currently live in Japan and I teach English at a high school. And as the only non-Japanese staff member in the high school, I don't interact with people so much. So, because I'm not fluent in Japanese, and that means that I don't have a lot to talk about regarding their personalities of the people I work with. So anyway, my past. People from my past are type 2 from my past. I'm going to freestyle this from the top of my head. There's nothing particular I want to bring up about him. But I don't want to give the standard, this is the definition of a type 2 type of video either. Like, this is supposed to be like real people that I interact with in my life. So, actual case studies concerning the Enneagram. So, I'm just going to talk about him. And I'm sure that two qualities will come through. So this guy, when I met him, we trained together in jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu. If you don't know Brazilian jiu-jitsu, even though it's becoming really popular in, say, the last 10 years or something, it is, there's still a lot of people out there that don't really understand what it is. Anyway, it's a full contact form of wrestling, somewhat like judo, and we trained in this together, and this guy was a type 2. So, I guess when I start to think about him and his personality, I do definitely I think possessiveness is a very good word to describe him. He was incredibly possessive of that club that we were at and the people in that club, the connections that he made, the relationships. His relationships with people in that club, he was very possessive of those people and those relationships. And that word possessive, I definitely chose that particularly. And I think a lot of twos in their social interactions, that is a word that is very apt in describes very well their social, their attitude towards the relationships that they are involved in. So, possessive. What do I mean by that? Well, it was like, he would be like, this guy is my friend. It was that kind of a vibe. He's my friend. And, you know, it was very literally like that sometimes. Reminds me a lot too, there was another two I used to work with. I joined a high school as well in China before I took this job. And in that high school I remember meeting this type 2, and he would define the relationships that he had with people very as soon as you met him, he would kind of define his relationships with the people around you. He'd say, oh yeah, that's Sarah, she's my best friend, or me and her are great friends. Oh, we're the best of friends, me and Sarah. I'm great friends with Sarah. It was kind of like a way of saying that it was defensive. It was very defensive. It was like he was saying, I'm friends with her, so you better know that she's my friend. That's what it was like. You better know that she's my friend. She's my friend. That's who she is. I'm letting you know. It was very much like that. And this guy, this who I trained with, this type 2, he was like that as well. I'm remembering the first time that I met these twos. Like, I was joining that club. I had done jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, for a lot longer than him. And pretty much, actually, everyone at that club. I'd done it longer than everyone at that club. And though he had been at that club for like 4 years, I think at the time I had done jiu-jitsu for 7 years or something. And so it was like I wasn't a beginner. I wasn't a newbie going in. But I was definitely new to the club. Actually, technically, I wasn't even new to that club. Technically, I was the first guy there because the club was the same club that I joined when I first started jiu-jitsu. But then I left, and so technically everyone else was new. So technically, it was a totally new club, all new people. And I joined this club, and he was very much like that as well. He was like, oh, I better change the names. Oh, that's Jono. Jono's my friend. Jono and me are great friends. Jono and me are great friends. Oh, that's Jono and me are great friends. Oh, you mean Jono? Oh, yeah. Jono and me are great friends. Like this, he was definitely like that too when I joined that club. He was really stretching himself to absolutely let you know who he was friends with. And a lot of these twos, their existence is very much sort of focused on relationships. I remember the guy in China too was very much about telling you sorry, I lost my chain of thought there. Anyway, regardless, they often do, I feel like they have no, honestly, I feel like I've said enough. This is almost a 10-minute video, and I think that's a very important point, that possessiveness. And I think that's worthy of a whole video, and so that's good enough. I'm glad I made this video. It's actually pretty cool. So please subscribe.